Hello, elegant listeners and viewers, and welcome to the best sports podcast to ever bless the universe. Go! My favorite sports team. And I'm your host, the master himself of balls and holes, Tyler Scheid. And of course, I am joined by my co-host today. Heard he has weak knees all of a sudden. Is not afraid of the water, an award-winning author, a YouTuber extraordinaire, a man who has, in fact, met Michael Phelps himself and probably swam against him and lost, my co-host.
That was the wildest intro I think I've ever received.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I don't know how to feel about any of it. It was a roller coaster. I feel like I'm at Disneyland.
But it's not Mark, if you haven't figured it out. This is my friend Andrew Givler, so...
It's true, that's me. I am not Markiplier, just in case anyone was confused.
You never know. You know, plastic surgery these days have come a long way.
I guess if you're just listening, there was a moment where you'd be really confused by this bit.
Like, what happened?
Hello, it's me. I've been here the whole time.
Hello, everybody. My name is Markiplier. There's a whole bit when I did an episode at one point when Mark wasn't here. And I don't know if it was an ad read or what it was, but I had the editor superimpose Mark's intro over and over again to act like he was here. It was really funny.
Just soundboard him. How long can I make the people
hello,
think?
Hello, everybody.
And then just like a couple different laughs. So you tell a joke and then Mark just laughs in the background. Perfect.
I'm trying to figure out what the title of this episode is going to be because I want a zinger. I want to catch their attention. And you know,
You should just use Michael Phelps, dude.
Yeah, I know. Diving in the pool with Michael Phelps. You think that's a good idea?
That's horrible. Michael Phelps destroyed me. There you go.
Yeah, or it can literally be the man who lost to Phelps.
That's everyone, bro.
Yeah.
It's like playing basketball, being like guy who lost to Michael Jordan,
or guy who lost to Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, exactly. Hey, like, dude's different.
Yeah, just built different. But Andrew here is a award-winning author. He's a really good friend of mine. I became friends with him when I first moved to LA. We bonded in the fact that we both swam, which we will get into because we're going to talk about all that is Andrew. There will be sports. There will be sports. And we'll talk about maybe a little bit of esports too, because I know you played in some competitive stuff for a while too.
That's true. Yes.
So this will be a doozy of an episode, and you guys, it's a doozy.
Doozy.
That's the episode title. It's a doozy.
It's a doozy. Oh no.
So we're going to talk about you. You're the topic today.
My favorite topic.
You're the topic today.
Finally.
So yeah. But let's start. We were briefly talking before we started recording.
Yes.
And you're like, I can talk about all the sports that I failed at before I started swimming. And now I'm curious how many you tried before swimming became the option.
2. I did gymnastics.
Okay.
For a minute, and I was just not flexible. Like not at all.
Fair.
Which, like, you've met me. That makes sense.
I mean, I'm not flexible either, but.
And then I played soccer. But my soccer experience was kind of hilarious.
Okay.
I was really bad. But also I maintain that part of that was the situation in which I played soccer never actually let me play soccer. So my dad was the coach of like a rec league for like 8 to 10-year-olds, something like that. One of the guys on our team, his name was Ari. I believe he ended up playing for the Israeli national team at the age of 14. He was like one of the youngest people to ever start playing for, and he was just like a savant.
Where were you playing?
Dude, it's San Antonio, Texas. I don't know how he ended up on our team. I don't remember the story. I just remember that Ari could just like take on an army of 8-year-olds by himself and win.
Was he just giant? Was he just
he was just
stiff arming and punching them and kicking them out of the way?
You don't want to be that physical when you're young. Like
no, everybody got in a circle and kicked the ball, man. It's all about physicality. It's just kick each other in the shins.
Yeah, but slide tackles, you couldn't do all the cool stuff yet. But I played defense.
Let me tell you about that.
Well, yeah, I believe that you did that, but you weren't supposed to, Tyler.
I played defense. I sat on the grass and picked at the grass until the ball came to me, and then I stood up and I just kicked the ball all the way down to the other side of the field.
My story, dude. The other defender was my childhood best friend. We were both like big for our age. Like we were just tall. Mm-hmm. So the ball would come from that half the field and we'd be like, oh, and you just kind of kick it up somewhere near Ari. And then it would be on that side of the field for like 5 minutes. And I was 8 years old with ADHD. So then off I go. And then be like, oh. And everyone was like, you really don't focus on soccer. I was like, you don't understand. There's nothing for me to do. Right?
Yeah, you weren't a man of balls and holes. You were a man of swimming in pools.
Doesn't quite have the same ring, but yeah, no,
it's close. True. It's close enough. It's got a little bit of a rhythm to it.
So by the time I was like 10 or 11, it was like maybe Andrew should just swim. And I'd already started swimming a little bit and was like, he seems to like that one a lot more. And so I stopped playing soccer. And then a few years later, I was like, what do you mean Ari's playing for the national team? And I was like, yeah, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah. That's fair. All right, but we're going to get further back. We're going to go further back. We're going back to when you were in the womb.
Oh, I was swimming there.
Exactly. You had gills.
Born in the water.
Fun fact, babies do in fact have gills, and then they grow out of them before they're born.
Cool, I'm going to be thinking about that for the rest of this episode. Thank you.
Somebody's going to fact check me and tell me I'm wrong, and I'm going to be like, I don't fucking know.
Wait, were you making that up?
No, I think I heard it somewhere at some point.
Oh, okay, now, never mind. I'm free to this knowledge now. I thought this was actually real for a second, and I was like, how did I not know this?
Now you're making me have to double check my own stuff.
First Google search of this is,
do
Google babies
search.
have gills? Sick. We're off to a start. It's a doozy.
Fetuses have gills. No. Anyway, new GQ's coming at us next week. Thanks for that. No, but I'm actually curious.
Okay.
Because this is an interesting conversation I always had. Were your parents super athletic? Did they do sports that you know of?
I think they did a little bit, but no, I would probably not describe them as super athletic. My athletic career was much more intense than either of theirs. My dad might have played a little bit of basketball or something in high school, but nah. My dad was definitely like nerdy engineer type. I don't think my mom really played anything either. She might have ran a little bit, but no, she was a painter. So
gotcha.
She was always
so
in
you're
art.
the stallion of the family is what I'm getting at.
Basically, I'm also the tallest living member of my family. So
that's wild to think about.
I know, because you're taller than me.
Listen, I'm lucky to be above average, okay?
I am too.
No, you're fine. You're
average is 5'8".
No, that's for women.
Look it up.
We're
fact
Are we talking
this
about the
whole
U.S.?
episode.
Are we doing the U.S. or are we doing like the whole world?
Sure, fine. Do U.S. male average height.
U.S.
It's definitely
men
not 6 feet.
Average. I didn't think it was 6 feet. I thought it was 5'10", which is why I thought it's 5'9".
Okay, so
you
we
are
were both,
above average.
I'm not 5'10".
Yeah, you're above average. What?
Okay, I'm so confused by you.
I thought you were 5'10".
I'm 6 foot.
No, you're not.
Yeah. Oh
no, there's no way. There's no way.
It's just your giant hair makes you seem
That's
like
true.
a mountain.
When they put it straight up in one film, I was taller than Wade, who's 6'4", so.
Yeah.
I'm just a large human, okay? I'm wide and lanky and tall, all right?
Get it? You played football and rugby and you're so sporty.
We get it. God. You're the master of balls, man.
Just balls, actually.
Just balls, no holes.
Yep. Tyler's dating life. You call me 5'10". I gotta hit back.
That's so real, though. That's so real. We talked about my dating life so much on this podcast. So that's
I was like, ooh, I hope this isn't too out of pocket.
No,
but.
this is totally in line with everything on this podcast. No, but that's really fascinating. The fact that your parents weren't athletic, you're the biggest in your family. I mean, the fact that you ended up diving into the pool. And so what was that like growing up? You know, were you pushed towards sports at all when you were a kid? If your parents weren't super athletic, I imagine it wasn't something that necessarily was like super imposed upon you.
Yeah, it was a host of different things. So I was homeschooled as a kid.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And I was incredibly high energy, like, ADHD before they were really calling it ADHD.
Yeah. But they just called you a wild child.
Yeah. And I was like bouncing off the walls. And so my mom was like, he needs an outlet to burn off this energy so that he can focus.
And not the one you shove the fork into and electrocute yourself.
Exactly.
Got it.
Preferably not that one.
Yeah.
They liked me at the time.
Yeah, that's fair.
So we had a pool in my backyard. I loved to swim. I grew up swimming. I taught myself how to swim like instantly. Just took to it. According to my mother, I don't remember this. So she found out that there were like swim teams that had daily practices, and she thought that would be a great way for me to be social, for me to burn off like just this energy. And then I really took to it. And so it became like a passion of mine.
Okay.
And so then they were like, okay, cool. So it started off much more casually. Like it wasn't for the athletic or like the competitive element of it.
It was just an outlet of energy.
Yeah. And then it kind of grew into something more from there.
How old were you when you first got in the pool?
I don't remember not being in a pool. My mom
I know
says,
I was put in like a small pool when I was in diapers at one point.
No, for sure. I mean, the pool, my grandfather's house, which had the pool, like where we were living, I moved there when I was 3. That's the like latest it could have been, but I had probably been in a pool before then anyway. But yeah, from like 3 onward, I was in a pool constantly.
Okay. And then do you remember your first like competitive swim meet? Like I'm hyper curious. This is the crazy part. All of my friends seem to have way worse of a memory than me. And so it's fascinating to me trying to dig into these specific details.
I remember my first practice.
Okay. What was your first practice like?
My first practice, I showed up. I'm 8 years old. I'm a self-taught swimmer. So the coach like pulls me over, puts me in a side lane and is like, all right, show me what you got. I got to figure out what I'm working with.
I thought you were going to say coach pulled me over and is like, you suck, you swim like this.
Basically.
Come on, kick harder, swim faster. Ah!
Basically, I mean, you're not wrong. And what I was done, so I was completely self-taught, right? Like I had some lessons and stuff, but no like competitive teaching. And so I swam freestyle with a breaststroke kick because breaststroke kick just came super naturally to me. I remember being taught it in a swim lesson, and I was going to miss the swim lesson. So the instructor was like, here, I'll take 5 minutes to kind of show you the basics. And she was like, make a pizza, cut it in half, and kick like a frog. And I was like, oh, like this, and just started swimming. And I actually remember this. I was probably like 5 or 6. The instructor is in the pool. She turns and she looks at my mother and she goes, I have never seen anybody learn the breaststroke that quickly before. And I was like, I don't know, it just kind of makes sense.
And then your mom responded with, well, I mean, he did take to the tit quitty. He did take to the tit pretty quickly. So, you know,
that was immediately what came out of my mother.
Breasts.
She was like, yes, perfect.
Great child for the breasts. Breaststroke came naturally. Anyway, continuing on.
You were a swimmer. You're supposed to be above this. We all got this out of our system at 10, dude.
This is the podcast. We are comedy first.
We were like,
if I see an opportunity, I'm doing it.
That's just like the oldest joke in the book.
It really is.
Yeah.
Especially for swimmers.
Especially for swimmers. That one at like 10, you're like,
breaststroke.
And then by the time you're 15, you're like, shut up, dude.
It's like, guys, I get it. Yep. I swim the stroke
you're the funny one.
It's funny.
It's the funny one. And the race is 69 meters long. Anyway, what were we talking about? Oh yeah. So I did freestyle with the breaststroke kick, and she was like, what is that? And so
technically it is freestyle.
It's technically legal. But it's not good. That's
because freestyle technically means you can swim any stroke.
Yeah.
Did
you ever do that?
I did. Because I didn't.
I did do that.
Okay.
Because I was gonna miss a day of a meet one time, so I needed 100 fly time. So I swam the 100 free, and I just swam it fly.
Oh, and you just wanted to put the time on
it's just so I had like an official enterable time, and everyone was like, what is happening? And it was like, I warned like the judge ahead of time and like the lane clerk, and was like, hey, just so you know, it is freestyle and I'm going to be swimming butterfly. And they were like, I mean, I can't stop you. And I was like, all right, cool.
Yeah.
Just letting you know.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't swim until college. Like I swam, but and then I played water polo, but I swam competitively 1 year in my life.
Oh, geez. Yeah. I spent a decade.
Yeah. So that's the other thing that's interesting to me. My brother swam, but I always took the team sports and all of that stuff. So I was not.
You would be a water polo guy.
I mean, I was naturally gifted. I was a fast runner. I did a bunch of the other stuff. So the water, like I liked swimming, but swimming to me initially when I watched practices or went to my brother's meet, I was just so bored.
Oh yeah, you gotta be able to get into like the flow state with it, or it's the worst. Although now they make headphones that work underwater, which man, I'd kill for those.
Oh gosh,
back in the day,
those would keep me awake at morning practice. I would have hit my head less against the wall. Sleep swimming.
Morning practice is rough.
That's the other thing. A lot of people don't realize how hard swimming is.
Swimming's crazy.
Swimming, I don't know. You can look this up, but Michael Phelps, when he was training consistently, probably consumed the most calories of any athlete during training.
It was absurd. It was absurd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like 18,000 calories a day or something like that.
Like
it might have been higher.
Yeah. I just remember the commercials where they would have like the burgers just like stacked. Swimming's crazy. And there's a reason a lot of people, when they leave swimming, they put on a little bit of weight.
Yeah.
Because when you're swimming, you can literally just eat rocks. Like it doesn't matter. Like your body is just like, anything.
Please, nourishment. Oh, I'll digest it. I promise.
I would eat my weight in spaghetti every day and be like, still skinny.
Yeah.
And I was like, what do you mean I can't do that anymore? This is bogus.
Well, the crazy part is because your entire body in the water is being used. There is no way to move in the water without using your muscles. There's resistance in every direction greater than air. I mean, air gives resistance, but it is nowhere near as viscous as water, or even more like, because air isn't a fluid, but.
Yeah, you're correct. You are 100% correct.
So.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. It's so good for you too. In terms of like a whole body workout, there's just nothing else that does it, especially at like such a low impact rate.
Well, that's why it's used so much in physical therapy. Like they'll do walk exercises for people that tear up their knees and stuff like that. So, which brings us back to your weak knees. As a swimmer, do you think that your knees are weak because you swam as opposed to being on land as much?
I think my knees are fine.
It's just what the internet says.
Just what the
internet's always right.
I will admit that at the end of my career, my right knee, because I was a breaststroker, started to pop a little bit in a way that was not great. But since I've retired, it went away.
What events did you traditionally swim? If you were a breaststroker, did you do a lot of IM? Listeners, that's the individual medley. It means you swim every single stroke. So you have a freestyle lap, which is really the forward crawl. You have breaststroke, you have backstroke, and you have butterfly.
Yeah, although you did it backwards.
I did it backwards.
It's fly, back, breast free.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was a breaststroke dominant IMer. So breaststroke was my best thing. And then fly. Honestly, the hard part about like growing up and doing sports is like, I wish I would do it again and be willing to swim more fly. I was really good at fly. Fly is the most brutal race in the world.
My brother swam fly.
Yeah, like the 200 fly is a nightmare. The 400 fly,
you want to die.
Like, and I don't care how strong you are. I was in the pool 20 hours a week, and a 400 fly would kill me, right? Like it was just, and I just didn't want to do it. And I kind of wish I did it more, but fly was probably my second best stroke.
I was always told I have the body of a fly swimmer.
Oh, you totally do, yeah.
But the problem was I started swimming my senior year of college.
Yeah, you're not picking it up that quick.
He's like, yeah, we're just going to do freestyle. And I did decent at freestyle.
I mean, the body of a fly swimmer is also usually the body of a freestyle swimmer. They're pretty like shoulder dominant, head down, going forward. They're the two most similar strokes in terms of like what you're doing.
Yeah.
So that makes sense. Like,
long torso,
big arms, like a lot of like shoulder power to really pull yourself forward.
Yep.
If you had swam forever, you probably would have been a really good IMer too, because you probably would have had a good backstroke. So like you would have probably been like a breaststroke weak IMer, but really good at the other strokes, which is what Phelps was.
Right.
Phelps is comparatively terrible at breaststroke compared to what he is at everything else that he does. But it didn't matter because he was so good at fly and free that nobody could touch him.
You want to know what's really fascinating that I found out after the Olympics this year?
That pool sucked?
Well, not only that, but that Phelps's records are all gone.
Yeah.
And that's wild to me because everyone always talked about how dominant Phelps was, but people also don't realize that he didn't focus on a particular stroke. He did all of it.
Yes.
Which is why he was so dominant, is because he was the best at everything.
And that's the part that's actually truly freakish for swimming, is that he was setting records in everything. Yeah, I agree. I mean, I'm a little shocked that his fly records have been broken because he was truly dominant at fly, and everything else was sort of like, and I'm really good at this too. But that was a crazy thing to realize. Although, you know, what is also crazy is the guys who are all breaking his records, they're all Europeans who are swimming NCAA for his coach.
Oh, yeah, same coach?
So
I did not realize that.
Bob, I forget his last name, but Bob, who is an NCAA coach, all the French guy that they were like doing all the stories about who was like winning a bunch, trains for him. The other guy who was also tearing everything up, the NCAA swimmer, trains for him. So it's really, that guy has also cracked the code on how to build like multi-talented swimmers or how to spot them.
He probably has a really good taper technique as well.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And also if he offers to coach anybody, who's going to say no? Right. I coached Phelps. All right, cool, man. Whatever you say, I will do. Right. But so yeah, what's really interesting is that a lot of the guys who are coming after Phelps are being taught by the guy who like molded Phelps. So I don't know. There's something to it.
Hey, you may have lost to Phelps, but you look like Leonardo DiCaprio.
True. You know, so I stay winning, honestly.
That was the one thing I forgot in your intro, and I was trying to find a way to put it in there. And the reason I wanted to put it in there is because I have this wonderful picture up here just for you, so that we can do the nice side by side. If you want to try and replicate that look into the camera for me, let's squint. There you go.
Okay,
spot on.
So this is a bit that, truthfully, I don't really see myself. I think it's like this part, like right here. Like we have this same like
the eyes and the
like
nose shape is interesting.
Yeah.
Your ears size kind of matches too with relation to your face. The shape of your face is the same, but there is a difference in your jawline and your mouth. People,
when I first moved to LA, people stopped me on the street to tell me how much I looked like Leonardo DiCaprio. I mean, it's like an uncanny thing that was happening. One time I was in line with TSA at LAX, standing there, bopping along. I got my headphones in. I'm minding my own business. The woman in front of me turns around and she's like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. Can I bother you for a second?" And I was like, "Yeah, hey, what's up?" She goes, "This has just really been bugging me and I needed to say it. You look so much like Leonardo DiCaprio." And I was like, "Oh." And then the woman standing behind me goes, "Oh my God, thank you so much for saying something. I've been sitting here thinking it the whole time." And I was like, what is happening?
Listen, I was about to ask if you're getting called from model agencies being like, "Yo, we got this under 25 model that needs to become more famous real quick. You want to date her?"
No, unfortunately, there's no perks. It's just strangers stopping me to say things that I don't understand.
Oh my God, you're Leonardo DiCaprio. I know the person just for you. She's like 22 and a model.
Danger! Oh God, pull up!
If you guys don't understand that joke, look up Leonardo DiCaprio's dating history and you'll understand.
I saw a tweet yesterday that said, Google just turned 25, and then somebody quote retweeted it and said,
Leonardo DiCaprio's breaking up. That's literally,
And I was like, that is an excellent joke.
Oh, it's so good.
The best jokes are funny because
all right, but getting back to you.
Yes.
All right.
Oh, yeah. More about me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So you grew up swimming.
I did.
Swimming was your passion. You never really gravitated to any other sports once you found swimming?
I mean, if you're doing swimming for real, it's really hard to do another sport.
Yeah.
Right. We would get 1 month off a year. By the time I was in high school, I was doing at least 3 morning practices a week plus 5 afternoon practices and then a Saturday practice. So 9 practices a week, 11 months out of the year.
Yeah.
Not really time to do anything.
Over specialization in sports is a problem.
Well, we had 2 different seasons. So because one of the lovely things about being American and swimming is that we swim like 3 different versions of swimming. Because there's short course yards, short course meters, and long course meters. So Olympic 50-meter pools, that's long course meters.
Yep.
Short course meters are 25-meter pools.
And then you have short course, which
yards,
is 25
because
yards.
freedom units.
Yep.
So you would spend 9 months out of the year, the school year, basically training short course yards. And that would be 4 by 25. So when you're swimming 100, you would have to do 4 lengths of the pool instead of like 100 in an Olympic where you go there and back, right? So you would do so you have to train for that.
More flip turns, bad for me.
Oh, flip turns were great for me. I was a good flip turner.
You
only swam for a year. Yeah, I mean, that's very reasonable for that to be a weakness of your swimming game if you only swam for a year. Like, for me, it was like an area that I really differentiated myself. But so 9 months out of the year, like the school year, basically, you would be training short course yards. And then the summer, you would do long course. And that would be like when usually outdoor pools are the 50-meter pools. So like we would go to a public pool and they would let us swim in the morning before they opened. And so we would be swimming long course for 3 months out of the year to then train and go to like the big boy events.
Yeah.
And then you take a month off and then the school season starts again. So part of it was just that, which is like we were essentially competing in 2 different versions of the sport between the seasons. But yes, it was very demanding.
Yeah. And the other part about this is the majority of your career is spent in Texas.
Oh yeah. The entirety.
Yeah. The entirety of your career was in Texas, which is most notably known for other sports beyond swimming.
It's actually one of the big swim states though.
Really? I've always seen it as, well, obviously football's number 1. It's like a religion in Texas.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Then baseball has actually gotten pretty big in Texas. It didn't used to be, but it's gotten bigger.
I mean, it depends on where you're at. Like as San Antonio growing up during the 90s, basketball crushed baseball in every way, shape, and form.
Right.
Because the Spurs were doing the Spurs things and we didn't have a baseball team. So
right.
And also San Antonio doesn't have a football team. So honestly, basketball was sacred in San Antonio, at least. Less so now because the Spurs aren't as good, but
because I know Ohio and Michigan are 2 of the top swim states.
UT is
then
the other.
Then you go to Florida. Yeah. Then you go California, obviously as well.
At least when I was in high school, and obviously like the shifts, right? But so Bob, who was coaching Phelps, was coaching I think U of M, which was like number 1, and then I don't remember who was coaching UT, but basically all the Olympians either swam at U of M or UT.
OSU ended up getting a really good coach later on as well. My buddy Kiefer ended up swimming there.
Oh, nice.
He was the All-American that came from our water polo team, swam for OSU, and was second alternate to the Olympics.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, he was also a breaststroker.
Yep, breaststroke. America has gone through some periods where we've had a bunch of incredibly dominant breaststrokers. One of the girls I trained with, her name was Annie Chandler. I think, I haven't looked up the time, so this is a little bit of me making this up, but like I'm pretty sure if I recall correctly, she got like 3rd at trials like 2 or 3 times. But like the times that they were hitting at trials were medaling times, right? So like she didn't make it, but if she did, she would have medaled kind of thing.
Right.
It was just that like she was swimming against, I can't remember what her name is, Amanda Beard probably, and Lindsay something. Just like incredibly dominant female breaststrokers from the U.S. And it was just like, man, if you were 4 years later, you'd do it. But then she married Matt Grievers, the greatest backstroker of all time. And they're like happily having children that I'm sure will be shattering Olympic records one day because they're both built like Greek gods.
I mean, you never know because sometimes genetics don't work that way.
True.
Weirdly enough.
No, that's very true. But like if I was a betting man.
Well, I mean, Secretariat didn't bring about any.
Are you quoting a horse to me right now?
I'm quoting a horse to you right now.
Are you really Seabiscuiting this?
It's not Seabiscuit. Seabiscuit was a long shot horse that did okay. Secretariat was the most dominant horse in the history of all of horse racing.
Isn't Seabiscuit related to Secretariat though?
I don't think so.
Oh, maybe I'm.
It's not on that bloodline.
Okay, well, oh,
because the bloodline of Secretariat has not had a single successful horse.
I didn't know you knew so much about horses.
I used to be a horse boy, so.
You used to be a horse boy?
Yeah.
All right, new podcast.
No.
Shut up. Let's talk about that.
No, that's a different episode.
That explains so much, actually. Oh my God. I finally understand everything about Tyler Scheid in just like that one sentence.
Yeah, I went to horse camp when I was 10. But
you went to horse camp? Oh, it all makes sense. You're crazy like a horse boy. It makes so much sense.
Anyway, continuing on. Yeah. We have this photo of you next to the greatest of all time in swimming.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Michael Phelps.
Undisputed GOAT.
Undisputed GOAT in men's swimming.
I think even period. Katie Ledecky is a monster.
Katie Ledecky is a monster.
She's not multi-disciplinary like him.
She's the dominant distance swimmer.
Yeah.
And in her thing in regards to that. But I always separate the categories because there's reasons to separate them.
It's pointless to argue. Katie Ledecky is a freaking machine.
Yes.
But she's only swims freestyle.
Right. Compared to Michael Phelps, who did
only swims freestyle and wins by an hour and a half, right?
Yeah, you know.
Like, she's the best. She's the best to ever do that, 100%.
Did you swim against him?
Yeah, I did.
How badly did you lose?
Oh, horrifically, bro. I am 17 in this photo.
Okay.
This was that's on the deck of UT actually, which was like one of the best swim pools in the country at the time. Like
University of Texas.
Yeah. Built to Olympic standards, so like 9 feet deep, whatever. Some of the fastest water I ever personally swam in. It was called the American Short Course Championships, I believe. And it was open to anybody who had the qualifying times.
Mm-hmm.
But it was open in a way, a lot of meets that I swam in, like as a high schooler, were not open to pros, right? So like qualifying time, open to anybody. So NCAA athletes and Olympians came. So Phelps showed up. This is a year before Beijing. So a year before he went on to win 8 golds, like when he's at his absolute unbelievable peak.
Yeah.
I think I placed 30-something in the event. And he won. And he won by a lot.
Yeah.
Broke an American record while he did it. It was I mean, at that point I was at the peak of my swimming career. Like I was swimming, like I said, 9 practices a week, right? I did this thing. And I watched him and I was like, brother, I do not do that thing. That is something else. That is, you are built different. You're a master of a thing that I only begin to understand.
Fair. It's so fascinating because being in that pool with him, was that motivating or was it discouraging?
I think it was a little discouraging. I mean, a lot of about going to become a swimmer at like the end of high school is discouraging in a lot of ways because it's not a money sport. So as you sort of come to like your senior year of high school, I think especially for boys because of like Title IX, the way Title IX plays out with swimming a little bit.
It's the way that it was implemented by the colleges because
they're like, we'll take a football team and a women's swimming team and boys, you can go play in traffic.
This is an interesting thing. And I want to do an episode on this because I've talked about Title IX before, but it's not about Title IX in and of itself destroying it.
Yeah.
It's about the way that it was implemented.
That makes sense.
Because it was implemented at the college level before they could develop women's athletes to have the interest in sports. Because if you haven't done it, why are you coming into college and suddenly it's like, oh, now I want to do this?
Yeah, true. You don't have a pipeline.
You don't have a pipeline. And so it was implemented in everything at once. And also with that, there's a 3-pronged test there, but only one of them is really easy to prove. And that's the proportionality.
Yeah.
Which is the proportionality of your student body to the proportion of athletes in sport.
Well, isn't it also the number of programs they offer?
Yeah, so it's based on programs. It's based on,
That's what I remember it being mostly was the number of programs.
Because the other one is interest, which then they have to do a whole rigmarole process.
That's a made up thing.
And then there's I forget what the third one is, but it was basically like it couldn't even be proved. In order for you to be compliant as you continue on through the path, it forced them to have to do it in one way, and the easiest way for them to fix the problem, because money is a thing, is to cut programs instead of adding them. Because if they added them and nobody was doing anything with them, then they couldn't showcase that there was an actual proportion. And that's where you ran into the issue and why programs are starting to come back nowadays.
Oh, really? That's good. I'm so glad to hear that.
So like men's water polo really got hit hard.
That makes sense.
Then programs have started coming back.
That's awesome.
And the worst part about it was this was when we were going into college when everything was getting cut. like massively, because it was within, I think, like the first decade of Title IX was our move.
And so a lot of men's swimming programs were getting pulled from colleges. So it was pretty much, if you weren't gearing up to be a Division I like finalist or going to trials, you know, or like doing well at trials, you weren't going to get on a program. And so it was, you know, that was the moment where, like, not that I thought I was going to the Olympics, but I was like, I'm definitely not going to the Olympics. You know what I mean?
That was like, holy shit, I'm way far away from what.
Yeah. Like, I was like, oh, cool. Yeah. I mean, I also grew. I mean, if you look at me at 17, like me now, I grew a lot in my like mid 20s.
Right. You kind of had a late growth spurt.
I did. So I wish I had really, like, you know, grown up in a different era. I would have loved to swim in college and see what I could have done. Because I also was on Accutane my senior year of high school, which really plateaued me.
Yeah.
And even though I worked like harder than I ever did, I couldn't actually break my records. And so I would have loved to like grown another inch, grown like 3 inches wider, and gotten off Accutane and swam in college and see what happened. But I didn't. That's fine. It's all good.
Did you do any sports in college?
No.
Then technically you still have all of your NCAA eligibility.
I'm going back, boys.
I think there's only an age out process once you start into the eligibility, and then there might be over a certain age for protection purposes, depending on the sport.
That does make sense.
But swimming would not qualify under the protection because there is no.
Don't tell me this. I'm going back.
You could literally easily have an argument to be able to jump in and do it.
Can you imagine me now trying to keep up with like a 23-year-old dude who's just been swimming for the last like 13 years of their life and is a well-oiled machine?
Listen, you've been swimming occasionally at the gym.
Yeah, dude, it's not the same, bro.
Yeah, but you've been working out your arms. Your wrists are stronger than them because you've been writing all your fantastic books that I've read one chapter of.
Hey, that's one chapter more than most. You know, I'll take it. No, I mean, you know how to actually put it back into how crazy it was when the programs were getting cut?
Yeah.
A guy the year ahead of me who was one of the like top 4 or 5 fastest breaststrokers in high school in Texas when he graduated, he got a walk-on spot to UT.
Wow.
Right? He was very good, very fast, could have trialed, probably, you know, I think he did trial. And they were like, yeah, you can come, I guess. But like, that's what, I mean, that was like the cut of that kind of stuff. So it was really bad. I'm glad to hear that the programs are expanding because it should. Swimming is dope, obviously.
Yeah,
and we need some more Phelps. But I just remembered that. I was like, man, if he can't, I saw Phelps swim and I was like, man, if Blake can only walk on UT, I think I'll be retiring soon.
Obviously, you were successful as a swimmer.
Yeah. I won 2 private school state championships.
Yeah.
Actually, that's a very funny story. Would you like to hear that?
Yes, I would love that story.
Okay, so.
Oh, man, what an amazing. I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
And that was the story. We can't air any of it. No. I mentioned I was homeschooled.
Yeah.
In Texas, there was a ordinance by the government that allowed homeschoolers to participate in private school sports by basically being correspondence students. So you had to turn in all your coursework and everything, like, to prove you had the grades to be like academically eligible for sports and whatever. Yeah. And you had to like conform to like taking a certain number of credits. You had to do everything that somebody in a private school would be doing, essentially. I swam in Texas. The group that I came up swimming with was a ton of homeschool kids that were like, we all knew each other. And so the club that I swam for was taught by a guy who was a private school coach. We went to him and we were like, hey, do you want all of us? We'll come swim for you. And they were a D1 school. And he was like, nah, I don't want to do that. And we were like, okay. And then we found a D3 school that was like, yeah, you guys can swim for us. That'd be hilarious. And so we show up and we win state championships for boys and girls with some of the best swimmers in the state my sophomore year. And everyone's like, wait, what? And we're like, hello. And everybody got really mad. This started like a whole lot of problems. So my junior year, they allowed a D2 school to swim in D3 just to beat us. And we lost to them by 1 point because we didn't know that they had like twice as many swimmers as us.
Oh yeah,
so we didn't distribute our events intelligently. Like we swam a bunch of events where we took like 1, 2, whatever, and we lost by 1 point. And then our senior year, they're like, "Yeah, you can't recruit anymore. You can't do this. This is terrible. You guys are out." So my senior year, D3 was the lowest population ever. All the schools knew they couldn't beat us. And there's 3 relays you swim.
Yeah.
Every single team withdrew from the 200 medley relay, so we swam in an empty water. Which was the most embarrassing thing that's ever happened to me in my life, where we get up on block because it's, the heats go D3, D2, D1.
Yeah.
So all these other swimmers that we're faster than are sitting there watching us just get up. swim through open water. We have to do it perfectly. Every single judge is just like staring at us, like, and you're like, don't. Like
I like how you went and told me that.
Sorry. That's visual.
And we got none of what you just said.
I'm sorry. This is my first podcast. I'm new.
And they swam.
Anyway, that's what happened.
What is this under here?
And he never got invited back. And so it was like we were going so slow. Like they would like touch the wall and then I would jump. Because you're like not risking anything.
Because you don't want to risk any potential disqualification.
Yeah, exactly. It was, but then we still won state. And that was the funniest thing possible. And then no one else was ever allowed to compete ever again because we ruined all the fun.
Dang. Wow. A Story of Dominance by Andrew Givler.
True. All I do is win. Sorry. Except when I race Michael Phelps.
Is there a copyright free all I do is win, no matter what?
No matter what. You're on Spotify. You know a guy.
No, we don't. I don't think we have those rights. I think our copyright stringentness is a lot worse than Twitch's and YouTube's. Anyway,
and then it really derailed after that. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, so that's incredible. So what you're saying is if I decided to race you, because we've talked about this before, you would kick my ass.
It really depends on what we did, I think.
The only stroke I would do, I can do 25 fly and it'd be pretty slow.
Yeah.
Because once I do the turn, I'm like, no!
I think I could beat you in a 50 free.
I think 50 free is the closest I'd get.
Yeah, and I think it depends on the turn, right? Because if I really crush you on a turn, I think that, you're bigger than me and you're in a little better shape than me right now. So I think that like you have a lot of arm power and you can force your way through a 50 free if you know what you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
If I crush you on the turn and can hold with you, I think I could beat you.
I think in a 50 long course
with
no
turn, probably
turn,
win a 50 long course, or my advantage would go away.
Yeah, your advantage would go away. I think that would be the closest I'd get because you've been swimming. I haven't been in a pool actually swimming in a pool well over a year.
But also you're like obnoxiously competitive, so I wouldn't put it past you to like just get an unbelievable boost of adrenaline just to personally beat me because you go to the dark place sometimes when we're filming competitive things. So like all of this is theory because also you're just a psychopath. Like yes, this is what should happen. Is it what will happen in the moment? I don't know.
Anything distance, you'd destroy me though.
Yeah, and I think I'd feel pretty confident about like I am or something like that
100%,
too.
Yeah.
Although my backstroke is terrible.
Mine's not horrible.
But my breaststroke is excellent.
But we could throw in some weird ancillary stuff.
The secret fifth stroke.
Side stroke. I used to lifeguard and man,
yep.
I got that kick. I glide.
Or corkscrew.
Oh my God.
Both puke at the end of the race.
Also, to define some terms for you guys real quick, we talked about tapering. Tapering is a practice in which you lean off the intensity of your training program so that you are getting more rest and relaxation in your muscles over time. There's a proven method that when you take a break, and usually sometimes people do hard cutoffs and then go, but if you slow down and allow your body to get more and more of that recovery, because you train all the time. You train all the time in swimming. And so when you ease back on that training, it actually allows you to get greater rest so that suddenly with that program, when you get to the actual event you're training for, you actually are faster than if you would have continued training along the regimen. It's something that's been studied a lot, but the most interesting thing is when you're on a team, they cater the tapering generally to everyone on the team. But as they've learned, everybody's body reacts differently to everything. Same thing with training, same thing with the tapering process. Some people need more rest, some people need less. And so finding that perfect time
makes sense.
Of relaxation is what gets the maximum output when it comes to the competition. But tapering is that entire process of resting while still maintaining the training.
And usually accompanied by a shave down.
Usually accompanied by a shave down, which is also a huge swimming thing, which
it actually makes a difference. It's crazy.
It's insane.
Crazy.
Like when you shave your legs and your facial hair and your arms and everything, like
when I shaved my legs for the first time for state, I couldn't believe how light I felt. Because I'm not even like that hairy of a person.
Didn't he? Okay, I have to ask you this because I shaved down for conferences because I only swam in college.
Yeah.
And I felt like I was an amphibian when I got in the water.
Yeah.
Like I felt like I had like this mucus membrane that repelled the water and I was just flying.
When it's like, especially like a freestyle kick,
Yeah.
suddenly felt effortless.
Yeah.
Because like all the drag just went away and it was like, oh man, I can just do this now. It was crazy.
Insane.
Yeah.
That was also the first time I wore a swim cap. I always was.
Oh yeah. I always wore a cap for anything, but yeah, the shave down, I only did a couple shave downs. But usually what happened was state was right before like the biggest club meet of the year. They were like a week off. So we would taper-ish for state, and then shave down for state, and then like let it build back up, and then reshave for like the big championships at the end of the season, and do like a full taper for that.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's just wild. And the funniest thing is swimming, I think, was the first to come up with this tapering method, but now all sports use it.
Really? I didn't know that actually. I mean, it makes sense.
We did it for water polo, but that's very similar to swimming. Yeah. Wrestling started picking it up because we used to be super intense in training. And then as we got towards whether it was regionals or state or stuff like that, we tapered off. Like all sports started to realize this rest method that swimming knew all along.
Swimming is the tastemaker. Yeah. Creates the greatest Olympic athlete of all time. And everybody starts copying. It makes sense.
Honestly, and the popularity boom that happened after Phelps in swimming, that swimming is now the most televised sport in the Olympics. In Summer Olympics, it is the most televised sport in Summer Olympics.
That we were blessed to truly watch that. I mean, and so much of it is like, you know, there was the relay that they were supposed to lose when he won 8 golds.
Yep.
That they won. Like that was like, that's like a legendary sports swimming moment. So not only like did you have Phelps who was coming in, who was a freak of nature and this like joy to watch, like do something special.
And at the time he was like the youngest too.
Yeah.
Because he came in as a teenager to the Olympics. So
I think he was 19 or 20.
I think he was 19.
Yeah, I think he's 2 years older than me. So
it was like either 18, 19, or 20. Yeah. But he was definitely, I'm pretty sure it was 18 or 19. I think 20 might have occurred during the Olympics.
I think his first Olympics, he was like 16.
Yeah, his first Olympics.
So 4 years later, he was either 16 or 17. So his next one was.
It was like 1920.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. Actually, one of the guys I trained with got a gold medal off that relay. I trained with Jimmy Fegan, who swam the prelims for that.
Oh,
so,
nice.
His other claim to fame, of course, is then pretending to get mugged with Ryan Lochte. So, which I was like, yeah, that checks out.
Oh, man. And it's just a crazy world because it's like, I always grew up and I love being in the pool.
Yeah.
Like I said, but I always hated the sport of swimming. But once I started swimming in college, I was like, man, I wish I had done this longer.
Oh, dude.
Because my coach was like, dude, if you had swam, just started freshman year, I feel like I could have made you a conference champion.
Oh, I think you could have been really good. Yeah, 100%. Did you, in colleges, do they really keep score? This is a pet peeve of mine, actually. Let's talk about this.
I never paid attention.
Yeah.
I only cared about my times, but they definitely kept score.
This is a big pet peeve of mine about swimming that I want them to get better about, is that swimming is a scored event. So like your placement earns points for your team. Relays are worth double, which is why they're like a big freaking deal. And then like at the end of a meet, a team is supposed to win. And they don't talk about it at the Olympics at all, which really annoys me.
Oh yeah,
and in club swimming, they don't even really do it very much. We would all just show up and do it. It was part of the reason I really enjoyed swimming in high school was because all of a sudden the points really started mattering.
Yeah, and you would look at the chart and they'd write them down.
Yeah,
because I remember that watching my brother in high school.
Yeah,
and I'd go to the swim meets and it was really fun because the other thing is swimmers care about each other.
Yeah,
in a massive way. Like there were lines of massage lines just sitting in the hallway. Like people would be out there watching Super Troopers on their laptop or whatever screen they had. Like it was like the most chill event, and then the cheering when somebody was swimming was sick.
Well, there's very few sports that have that kind of culture where you are together that much and also in a co-ed environment.
And it's more of an individual sport than it is a team sport. Yeah. It's a virtual team.
Yeah, exactly. There's a few things you do teamwork wise, like the relays and stuff. That's part of the reason I liked it when we kept score, is that usually made people be more close because it was like we're all working together to like win, right? You know, when you win state, it was like we as a team scored the most points. So it was all of us contributing to that. Like you had your individual medals and whatever, but we got a big old medal for being the state champions of like our team. And that felt really good and was a thing that I was like, oh, why haven't we been doing this the whole time? And it's my one pet peeve about how they do the Olympics is like, obviously the medal count is cool, but there should be a medal overall for who wins the meet. I mean, it would be us probably every time, but
I mean, yeah.
Probably.
I mean,
from volume of people that qualify, but
right, volume of people, because size of teams mattered, because if one team could field one swimmer and the other people had 4, they'd get.
I don't think you're allowed to take that many though. There's a cap.
Well, in the Olympics, yes, but I'm talking about when we were in college.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's supposed to be somewhat regulated by the division size.
Correct.
So, in theory, like D3, we were swimming against like the smallest teams, but we were the same size. We lost that D2 school because they had an extra 10 swimmers or something like that.
Right. I mean, but we were D3, but we had the smallest team in all of D3.
Yeah, that sucks. You're not winning that, but. Which is probably why they weren't really keeping score.
Right. I think because Ohio Northern had the biggest of our conference.
Okay.
Because I was in the OAC, the Ohio Athletic Conference for college D3, which is why I played against Pierre Garçon in football my freshman year. Crazy, wild monster of a man.
Did you win?
No. He played for Mount Union. They won the national title like almost every year.
Listen, you asked me if I beat Michael Phelps. I'm going to ask you if you
that's fair. That's fair. I shared the field.
I definitely remember.
Pierre Garçon.
Yeah, that's what I said.
He was a receiver for Peyton Manning and the Colts.
That's a football team.
Yeah. Football started, by the way. It's kickoff week right now when we're recording.
And the Go Pack Go. I don't know. I don't actually have a football team, so I like Taylor Swift, so I guess I'm a Chiefs fan now.
There you go. Travis Kelce's from Cincinnati, so.
Oh, there you go. I like Jason Kelce, actually. But
Jason seems like a hoot.
He seems like a good time.
Listen, Jason, if you by happen chance decide to watch our podcast, I would love to have a conversation with you.
I mean, he's got a podcast. Do a little one.
We talked about it at one point, and then they're like, we're only doing our podcast, and then it came up that Jason might be available. Maybe I'd love to talk to him. We're both Cincinnati boys. I was rooting for UC when he played at UC.
There you go.
I cheered when you were drafted. Yeah, I know.
And also his wife is funnier than him, which is pretty hard to do.
I think all of our wives are funnier than us.
All of our wives are funnier than us. Yes. Good answer.
That's a great answer. That's good. Ooh, that's good.
To the 2 unmarried men at the table. What doghouse are you trying to keep us out of? There isn't even a doghouse.
It's not a doghouse. It's funny because there are no wives, so they're funnier than us.
Everyone's funnier than us. That's actually the secret.
But the funniest thing is we're going to talk about other things, and we're running out of time already. So I want to give you
what a shock. Andrew and Tyler talk about something for too long and burn through all the time. Who could have seen this? Coming?
Gene, don't say a word. No, but I want to give you the floor because you
got a carpet.
I hate you right now.
Sorry, go ahead. Give me the floor.
I want to give you the floor to talk about what you're up to, all the projects that you're involved in. I know you have your YouTube channel with your friends, the regulars.
True.
Which I've been on.
You have.
That was a really fun time. Also, you're working on your 4th book, or is that already ready? I see it's pre-order on Amazon. I looked it up.
Yeah, a lot of things. Okay, so
you've got your YouTube channel, your own personal one as well. Like
I started a board game company. Did I tell you about that?
Yeah, I saw you launched the Kickstarter for the board game.
Just finished Kickstarter for that. Yeah,
I sent that to all my board game friends. By the way.
Thank you.
Yeah.
What a boy.
I do things quietly.
You're a boy.
I do things quietly. I don't want to,
I'm on YouTube under the handle Sigils. I do like Minecraft, Fortnite, Among Us, things like that. A lot of fun games. You guys are familiar with the concept, I'm sure. But then I also write urban fantasy novels. I write a series called The Debt Collection. This is the first book right here. It's called Soul Fraud.
First chapter was great.
First chapter is a banger. It's about a guy who has a terrible life, just an awful life, kind of like Tyler's life. And sorry.
I'm just gonna.
It's my podcast now.
See you later.
He left. Okay. What's he saying? Oh, he had a really terrible life. And on his birthday, a demon approaches him and says, "Hey, we'll give you a perfect life for 10 years in exchange for your soul." He's really gone, by the way. And Matt, the main character, says, "No, thank you. I've seen that TV show." The demon has a little bit of a breakdown because he's really behind on his quota. He's not doing so well. And he forges his signature on the contract and then runs off into the night. And then the main character's like, life turns around, a bunch of crazy stuff starts happening. He's like, should probably figure out how to get my soul back. He's really gone, by the way. I don't know what else to do. And so that's the adventure. And the 4th book is coming out on September 24th. It's called Death Tax. It will not be the last book in the series. There's a few more to go. I have another series coming out next year that's like a more like a high Roman fantasy kind of thing that's pretty fun. And let's see what else. I have a board game company. We just did a successful Kickstarter for a co-op game called Shuffle Dungeons. We have to go through a dungeon that's different every time and beat a boss and survive. It's a really fun little game. We have some more of those coming out. I think that's it. I don't know what to do. He's left. So now you and I are alone. Let's talk about sports. Oh, he's back.
Oh, gosh.
You left me unattended. You should know better than that.
Yeah, no, that was the whole idea. I wanted to leave you unattended. And then right when I heard you're like, now that I'm here alone, I'm that's when I come back.
Oh, yeah, and they're available on Amazon, the books. That's right. Look up Soul Fraud on Amazon or Andrew Givler. I didn't even say where to get them. That's the way to do it.
And there's some free trials you can get with Audible and stuff like that.
They're on Audible, too.
You have a voice actor for you reading your books.
I do. Yeah, his name's Michael
situated.
Mola. He's incredible. Also, if you have Kindle Unlimited, it's free. You can like there's a subscription for Kindle. Did you know that?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Yeah. So make sure and support Andrew in all the places. By the way, if you don't know how to spell sigils, it's literally exactly how you think it is. S-I-G-I-L-S.
The amount of people who are about to put a J are very grateful that you said G, which I probably should have done.
You're welcome.
I'm not used to doing the spiel like
But that's
this.
how you spell sigils. That's like, it's a sigil. It's how the
A lot
word
of people don't know what a sigil is. You'd be surprised.
Oh my God,
I know,
really?
it's really shocking.
It's literally you.
That's what I'm saying.
No, but thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being here and being a fantastic audience. If you want to support the podcast, you can go to store.gmfst.com. Hopefully we'll have new items up on the store for merch today. But we do have the iFinger Sports foam finger being sported over there by our fantastic co-host today. We also have the Finger Sports hat that's also available as well. It almost looks like you're flipping the camera off.
I was wearing it backwards, which was only bothering me. Because it looks no different, but it was really giving my brain like a twist. It was not good.
That's totally fair. And if you have any J'Accused episode ideas, or you want to tell us more about sporting news, which we didn't talk about sporting news much today, other than the fact that Caitlin Clark did in fact get another triple-double. There you go. There's your sporting news for the end of the episode.
3 buns and 2 patties?
Triple-double would actually be 6 patties. Because
her metabolism is crazy.
3 doubles. No, but a triple-double has to do with double digits in multiple statistical categories.
Oh, that makes way more sense.
In basketball. So anyway, if you want to
I didn't know what it was. I always thought it meant you got 2 of a whole bunch of things.
No, it's getting to double digits. And So if you want to support in all the ways, a great way for you to contribute to the podcast is through the Reddit. You can accuse me for my mistakes, like babies having gills. You can give us episode suggestions as well as tell us about sporting news around the world, because unfortunately, being in the U.S. means we hear U.S. news primarily and almost no news about sports or anything else outside of the U.S.
What?
Yeah, it's just what happens. ESPN, the worldwide leader of sports, is a lie. We bring you more news than they do around the world. All right, thank you so much for listening. We'll see you in the next one. Bye.